Welcome back, fellow armchair generals, to first episode of 2017. Hopefully this will be a good year for you, for me, and for all. The channel's not dead yet. I know I took it on a hiatus the end of December there and a little bit of starting of January here, but we're back. Might be a few days before we ramp up to our old schedule. I really hope the channel can grow. I know a lot of it's based on me, but it's also based on what games I play. I sort of kind of say I want to ask for suggestions, but I've gotten some good suggestions. But whenever I've tried something else, it's not seeming to bring any new people to the channel, and the old faithful, some of them watch, some of them don't, so I don't know about that, and investing money in games that don't improve things I just don't know about. But and of course part of it is based on, like I say, the games I play and how well Hearts of Iron of either version is doing. I've played a bunch of Together for Victory before it was released. After it was released, I played a bunch of that. The AI, in my opinion, has had a massive improvement. That still doesn't mean that there isn't AI wackiness, that there still isn't potentially, and you're talking about this wackiness, that's a severe problem, that there isn't severe problems with it still. It just, it's gone from a 1 or a 2 to a 4. And 10 is the goal, so it's it's done that. So I totally get why you're either not wanting to watch or wanting to play it. Totally get that. So I don't know, but that's just a little bit of what's sort of going on here. So now we're going back to the game here. I want to at least, and I know Black Ice 8.6 is out. Which does interest me. I have mixed feelings, quite honestly, over the new versions of Black Ice. Not about its quality or if there's improvements or anything like that. It's purely a situation of, I think it's a dead end. Okay, we've taken Sofia. They're trying to counterattack. Maybe we can get knock Bulgaria out of the war here. I think it's a dead end, like I was saying. And which doesn't mean dead ends can't improve. And obviously, as I just was saying earlier in this episode, okay, we've won there, good. Okay, so we've relinked these guys up, but I want to consolidate here a little more. The Hearts of Iron 4 isn't there yet either, so that sort of leaves people in a what to do situation. Automotive and artillery production, looks like. Gotten up to 46 level, which will help our production capabilities. What to do, for the player, it's an easy choice. Play something that's fun to play, and I totally get that. As a modder, because I have to look at, personally, I have to look at it as that viewpoint as well. Oh, we have more. There we go. putting your time and effort in it as a modding exercise. Yeah, you cut me off, but we're counterattacking here. I don't know, I sort of look a little bit more as build for the long term. Okay, attack the Bulgarians there. Re-establish our links. Good. And currently I don't have 8.6 BICE installed on my computer as part of, you know, the game. I just downloaded it, saw the, you know, changes. Yeah, not too much. I don't have enough naval force to properly do that. Sort of thinking about, because I've noticed, thinking about trying to make the same mistake the British did in the Napoleonic War and invade up here because we have a port. They did that, created a no, pocket isn't the right term, sort of a occupied peninsula, pseudo island kind of thing. I mean, it's not really an island, if just a, you know, bridge over the waterway, kind of low Dutch holdout during the Napoleonic Wars. And the main killer up here was malaria, mosquitoes, and other dysentery type problems for the British Army, and large numbers of British soldiers died from sickness. Very few from, you know, battle injuries or even the, you know, post-battle sickness. Why do they have a armor unit out here? Okay, well, but I'm also thinking about seeing if I can maybe push into there. I don't know. But I'm noticing also, like, the Americans aren't even garrisoning everything here. Long-range aircraft production. More industry is... Well, still need to be there, don't I? But I really want to come over here. Looking for 44 tax, that would be useful. Like improved security unit, I don't know if that's going to be too useful. Yeah, not that it wouldn't help. Playing as Germany, it's always like, hey, yeah, I want to improve my security units for occupation duties, for garrison duties. Don't think we're going to do any tank, just build a tank destroyer, so... Hedgehog defense. Defensiveness, that'll be good. Guess we'll go with that. Help out in Asia. Yeah, well, we're gonna win that. Okay, let's see. We need to keep these guys off balance still. We need to keep pushing. Where, when we have good options to do so. Well, might as well support that operation. Oh, good. Yeah, they're just committing offensive suicide. How's Asia doing? Or Thai front? Okay, well, we've gotten in some reinforcements before they occupied. Good. They're assaulting heavily again. Well, we can head back to there. And short-range aircraft production. No, and shipbuilding as well. With Hearts of Iron 4, they sort of, with the text and the doctrine, sort of put it down and distilled it down into their essence. And I know from various public statements that Podcat, who tried at least one version of Black Ice now, some versions weren't maybe as good as others, shall we say. Didn't really like, not that they thought they did a bad job, but just that too much, I think, would be a good, that he didn't like Black Ice, and that, you know, too much of unessential, non-essential texts were used and other elements that were just not helpful or useful, or not exactly sure exactly how you want to use that in all cases, but didn't improve things. And I understand that. But I also think that there is a... And yeah, I could agree that, not that I don't like them and not that I think they're bad, I can just agree that they may have overdone it a little bit on some of the... well, good. Support temp tech. On some of the stuff here with Black Ice. Okay, we're going to retreat to Lynn so we don't get cut off. Medium fuel tank research advance. But what I do think is missing on... okay, so now we can... well, let's improve our naval bombers. With the Hearts of Iron 4 and their both texts and doctrines and that type of sort of straight line change is support the next little attack there is a gradualist approach to it. It's sort of, you have the doctrine or you don't. You have the tech or you don't. And I would say, let's help that battle out, that things weren't always a sort of zero-sum game, in that either you, that there were, shall we say, intermediate improvements to things. Okay, we're going to stop the HQ from supporting that because I don't want to break it. So that is where I would like to see a more gradualist approach. Instead of, oh, you can do a blitzkrieg. You have the blitzkrieg tech, or you don't have it. Germany developed it before the war, at least a conceptual viewpoint by Guderian, and they didn't call it blitzkrieg. The Germans, I don't know if they ever really called it blitzkrieg. They definitely blitzed things, which is just lightning, which is more the bombing raids. And I'm trying to remember if I ever specifically heard a catchy title that the Germans used for it, but what we sort of know is blitzkrieg. Guderian came up with conceptually, but it evolved over time during the war. They got better at it. They not just 10 guys in a room figured this thing out and knew how to do it, maybe even perfected it, but you've got to get the air command operating effectively with this new mode. Not just, again, 10 air command guys in a room to figure it out, but all the pilots, all the operational people, how to conceptually as well as practically do it. All of the artillery forces, because the artillery was sort of a separate branch of the armed forces that, yes, they did have artillery divisions, but that's really more of an administrative function, but had a their branch, even though it was integrated to all the divisions, still had to have a practice to integrate it into the fighting capabilities of different divisions. So you had to have it out there in practice and not just in theory and in wide practice with... Oh, you're about exhausted, so you're going to attack, and you're going to attack up to there. So that... Okay, you're out of supplies, and you're being attacked. Come on, the U.S., pick up your advances. So that I'd like to see a more gradualist approach, and which is just... Yeah, and I know it may be the idea, and I get that... I might as well send you up into there. How does it improve the game and not just add layers of micromanage to it? Well, I'm trying to think here as I'm how to say this well. The difference between, shall we say, Germany and Britain wasn't necessarily, even in the Battle of France and the Low Countries here, wasn't even necessarily the Germany had blitzkrieg or mobile warfare or however you want to call it, and Britain didn't. So Britain was completely outclassed. No, Britain fought fairly well. It had some ideas of mobile warfare. The BEF was rather motorized force, did rather well. It just was much smaller than the Germans and wasn't quite up to the level of the Germans. So trying to draw the distinction isn't a binary have this technique or not have this technique. And I'm sure some of you could point out, and I'm even thinking of sort of a couple, but I'm not going to go into it, elements where Germany did have it, particular techniques that Britain didn't have, so Britain didn't do so well, but it wasn't that binary of a situation, of a either got it or don't have it kind of setting. Let's see if we can keep these guys a little bit off balance. So that's why I would like to see a somewhat more Hearts of Iron 4 style, if you will, while you're defending. Gradualist approach. It needn't be a overwhelming numbers of text. Now, hey, I enjoy this, so I'm happy to see somebody like Black Ice 4 Hearts of Iron 4 come out and overwhelm us with the numbers and the amount of text. But I know that isn't what the developers of Hoi 4 want, and what a, shall we say, a majority of players want. And you do have to some degree, not that you shouldn't make the game you want to make, but then that gets into the, my opinion, the problem of Hearts of Iron 4 developers is they're making the game they want to play instead of making the game that some of us want to play. You just need to balance out would like to get to the Danube here, but we'll see. Running out of supplies or fuel. Yeah, okay, we lost that province, but we're going to attack these Finns. Like, what the hell are the Finns doing down here? Yeah, I know this is sort of like, oops, emergency front, but come on, Soviet Russia, what are you... Stalin wanted to take the territory. You're behind the curve there, AI. No, come on. Okay, well, we're going to end the episode here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Do appreciate that. And see you next time for more Hearts of Iron.